Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3. Let's get some more. Have it in. Some more. Let's get some more.
Why, hello, and welcome everyone to this week's episode of My Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king. We are also a proud part of the Bar Cart Co-op. This is why Kevin steals really well-worded things on his show. Bourbon Turntable, also a part of the Bar Cart Co-op, and records and uses it properly. That will be done on our show soon. Sorry about that, folks, but thank you everyone in the chat for being here early. See that's flaring up already. Good to see you. And since we don't have Mike, Ben, do you want to kick this? Do you want to do all this little spiel?
Well, obviously, I can't do it to the class and the level that Mike does it, but welcome to My Whiskey Den. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification, do all the wonderful things that keep you informed about what we're doing, when we're on, and talking about all the exciting whiskey things that you want to hear about. Just do it.
That's right. And Mike's not gone for the evening. He's eating dinner with in-laws, so he is going to be slowly working his way in here at some point. He might even bring someone on. I said bring the family on. Let's see what they think about stuff. You know what I mean?
We did have a show where we had Jolie's mom on.
That's true. And it was a good show.
Yes.
Jolie's mom was fantastic on that episode.
She was.
She almost seemed coached, and she wasn't. It was great.
Yeah.
But so this evening, we have our guest, Kevin Rose, on, who was gracious enough to come on. We know he's had the Stumpy's wheat whiskey because he was on that great show that was on with Alan Bishop and him, where they and Todd Leopold, where they talked about the Tale of Two Stills. Yeah. So we're not having something from that still tonight. We are having the Old Monroe straight wheat whiskey that is bottled in bond. This was released earlier this year, and there was quite a party apparently at the release. So if you didn't get to do that, you should have. I heard very good things about this. If you didn't know, it is in Columbia, Illinois, which is just outside of St. Louis, I think southeast St. Louis, not really. Oh, I guess it is St. Louis, but it's in Illinois, just outside of there. So not a far trip if you're in the area. And congratulations to them on another note. They won, I don't want to call it a legal battle, but they were trying to expand. And there was a little press back from the local community, or at least a couple people in the local community. But they've won, and they will be expanding. So cheers to Adam and Laura on that. I don't know why some people want to, but good on you for triumphing over that. Looking forward to that, and it's great to see people who make good whiskey getting to expand rather than being held back.
Fight the man.
Yep.
Fight the man. Damn right.
Take the power back, right?
Yeah, I know. Sorry, Mitch. I know I couldn't make it. We're trying to make all sorts of stuff happen, which there are some things in the works that are coming up. We're working on that, but we'll release that as it happens. So this is a 100% soft red winter wheat, which is pretty neat, which I mean, it is 100% all wheat whiskey. Sometimes you get that little bit of gray area, like you say it's a rye whiskey and it's like only 54% rye, or this is just straight 100% embrace what they're growing on the farm.
Homegrown.
Which is exactly what we talk about, is taking something local, turning it into hopefully something fantastic. So let's, do you guys have a pour already gone? Because I want to get some notes and notes from the both of you.
The last couple of minutes here. So,
well, let's see what you think, Mr. Sniffer.
Mr. Sniffer.
Might be a story behind that. I'm not going to say anything.
This show could already go an entirely different direction.
I like to put it out there. That's all.
Just straight off the rails from the get-go.
Oh, nice. Nice, John. He was trying to sneak in there today, but they were closed. But he did find a bottle. Very nice. Good for you.
Can't make whiskey if you're not open.
I think you can attest from some of the workload you've got that maybe a day off and there might be a good idea too from time to time.
It helps.
All right, so what are you two getting on this soft winter wheat whiskey?
It's
Red winter.
I get 3 big notes kind of right off the bat for me. It's vanilla, cherry, and then I get a distinct the oak char note coming through on this. But that vanilla and that cherry together are just, oh my god, it's dessert like.
I got some brown sugar in there too, and some leather. A little bit of apple too, I think.
Sorry, I was reading Emily's comment.
I was too.
All right, I'm going to go top to bottom. I just had the first drink. I always say I do the opposite of other people. The first drink, I think you should just have some whiskey and then go into tasting after your first drink of the night. So I didn't mind that first one. So I'm just kind of starting off.
Oh, it's so good.
Brown sugar. I get what you were saying about leather. The wheat is giving me this. Like almost a little tobacco-y or burnt marshmallow on the back side of it.
Yeah, I get the charred marshmallow note going on. A little bit of a toasted bread thing too in there.
See, I'm a week away and I went back to drinking right away. See, that's how much I missed you folks out there. Just mind blacked out on what I was doing. But as for me, in comparison to other wheat whiskeys, this is a little bit darker. Not overall, but I'm trying to peg this. Like, there's a spice note that I'm having a hard time hitting on this one. And I think it's a little hidden black pepper in with that little leathery or burnt marshmallow note at the end.
There's a little orange peel hidden in there too.
It's gonna happen later on, so we'll taste some of it, and then I'll get into my wheat comparisons.
I think there's some mocha.
I get that. I like the viscousness of this whiskey. It's kind of heavy.
Mouthfeel.
Yeah.
What's
medium,
that?
Nice. Mouthfeel.
Mouthfeel, yes.
Yeah.
It has a nice coating effect when it's in there, kind of medium.
Right.
It lights up as you swallow, but it really sticks around on the sides and stuff.
Yep. It's creamy.
This is, I'm not even in tasting notes now. I'm going to get into a progression of, it's really nice interwoven flavors with this hint of light black pepper, a little bit of white pepper note for me, kind of riding out in the background the whole way and comes more pronounced in the finish. But you're getting all those. There's nothing really jumping out, and everything seems pretty tied together. There's no loose flavors for me. It's very integrated.
Yeah, and I think the wheat takes the oak really well. You can tell that there's some oak to it,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't overpower it by any means.
What's do we know what kind of barrels or char or what exactly he's using on these?
I think it was a number 3 char.
I was going to say, I think it was 53 threes is what I think it was, if I remember correctly.
And it was, he had 4 barrels. 3 of them were at 93 proof and one was at 120. Okay. And then he just blended them all together and proofed it down to 100.
Did you get to have them when they were at the 4 barrels at the higher proof as when you were there? You son of a bitch.
Yes. And
okay. Now we're gonna take a small detour into this because of the thought process here. Was there one of the 4 barrels that you liked more so, and what was the proof of it? Since you mentioned the different levels.
I had the opportunity to probably try something out of those barrels, maybe 3 different times, and then that morning they were doing the release. Mike and I got there really early. Like we're camped out in the parking lot and it's snowing, and then Adam saw us out there and brought us in out of the cold, and he let us try some of the. Still had some samples of the various barrels, and let us try those, and then the bottle and bond itself. And honestly, I think that the way he blended them together, I think what we've got in this bottle is the best of the bunch. But the drinking it right out of the barrel was pretty cool too.
I was just going to say, I didn't know if one of them being at a higher proof might give a little bit more punch of flavor. Not saying that this needs a punch of flavor, right? By any means, because it doesn't. But I'm just, wondering either that or did maybe like the oak, watering it down, kind of take a little bit of the oak out when you're bringing it down as well too.
I think it was a little earlier on. It was a little sweeter than what we've got here, but I think what you've got here is much more balanced all the way around.
No, I can't imagine this being that much better. This is just really well done, period. And I think a lot of times you're going to find, Patrick, when you're proofing down spirits, that you're actually bringing some of those tannins and those oak notes are coming a little bit more forward.
That would be hard to play with. So, just saying. Oh, hold on, I had like a molasses. Hold on a second, I gotta find what I had here. Oh, it's hard to peg what type of cookie this would be. I wouldn't, but there's this molassesy feel to it. But the first half is different. It's almost like a sugar cookie, and then kind of morphs into this richer.
Now, there's a guy that would peg a sugar cookie right there.
That's right.
And then it's called a donut.
Well, it's good to have you here, and
I'm sorry. I'm late, number one, and 2 out of sorts here. What are we starting with?
Hey, cue the theme music, Pat. Let's start over.
Okay.
All right, let's begin.
Hold on a second here. I can get this. I just gotta spin down a bit. We
need a proper introduction.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. We're doing Stumpies, baby, and
Stumpy's baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll get set.
I haven't drank in a few days and stuff, so this first little bit, I'm actually kind of happy and excited. I haven't talked to people in a while.
He's downright giddy.
I know. I've
been building furniture and dumb shit like that for like a week straight. It's ridiculous.
So you're Amish now?
Kind of.
Okay.
I can do better than the people that
churning butter
that sent me the furniture. I've already corrected some things for them.
So I know I've talked about the Stumpy's wheat before, but I'm just curious what all of you guys been talking about with this.
I didn't get into any comparisons versus other wheat whiskeys. I kind of held off on that. We were into the tasting notes about it. Viscosity, just basic tasting notes.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I'm having to crack a fresh one here, so.
I had to do that yesterday.
Ooh, Emily, sorry about that. It has so much flavor. It's definitely a little bit of molasses, but to not say there isn't that little bit of cane sugar at the front and tail end of it, that almost, like the cane sugar, if you're gonna change the flavors, it just almost rides on top of the molasses for me at this point.
It sounds like you're talking about a molasses cookie.
Yeah, it leans more molasses cookie right on the bat for me, especially towards the back end. I get a little bit of a bread note on the palate, honey. There's brown sugar, but that molasses cookie thing really just takes over on the back end. Mid part, there's a little bit of fruit, a little cherry, a little pear or apple maybe to me, but man, it's just really pleasant, really good.
And when you just meant pleasant, it's not overpowering, and you could.
No,
I can see you finish. This sounds bad. I can see you finishing a bottle of this with your friends very easily.
It's dangerously sippable.
That has happened.
Yes. I can attest that has happened twice.
Oh shit! Dave's bringing up some interesting. That I don't even know if I had that, and now I have to have one.
Huh? Yeah. I'm curious what kind of name that is. That sounds good, but also that sounds diabetic.
Well,
I'm just really honestly, I'm glad to see see you guys. We haven't seen you forever. Feels like.
I know.
Definitely for me. Yeah, especially for me, it feels like I really haven't seen you guys in a while. So nice to be back on here.
So everybody in the chat, just indulge us as we have this group hug.
A group hug with everyone out there too. I haven't talked to everybody. I love it. This is a small batch release on this one, 4 barrels. Probably be similar to that if they continue to do the bottled and bond release versions. Just would make sense. Eventually, they'll probably have single barrels. That's all I'm going to say. From just this, starting off at 50%, there's 2 or 3 honey barrels in there that imagine just pulling a little bit more fruit out of this with that would be disturbingly good.
This to me, I'm breaking it down like this. It's like molasses cookie with a little cream cheese frosting and a cherry.
Now you're talking. These were, I mean, you mentioned honey barrels, because what, last August, Kevin, was when last time we got to try them cast strength.
Right.
These original barrels at cast strength, I said to Adam, and I wasn't lying, and I'll die on that hill. That was if it wasn't the best, it was in the top 2 of wheat whiskeys ever that I've had. And I've had the stuff people stand in line for and everything else, and it blew all of that away. I mean, it just, everything about it, especially, and the proof wasn't that much higher, but man, just the way it just took over. It took over your head and then went down through your body. Right. Oh my God. It was a religious experience.
But see, I thought, and I don't argue that 120 proof barrel was really special, but I think that the whole blend and getting it at this bottled and bond proof, I think that's tough to beat. I think the sum of the parts, or the whole, is better than the sum of the parts. Is that the right way to say that?
Yeah. No, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this blend whatsoever.
Okay, you're only going to hear random stuff from me because my porch is like a middle one, and it just decided to start raining, and I'm sure you can hear the difference right now. So I will be in and out making comments so that you do not sound like you're in the middle of a thunderstorm, in the middle of a drizzle. Oh, hold on. Emily did this. That's what I'm talking about.
So everybody leave.
Right.
come back in a couple minutes. We'll be on the next review.
Yeah. Oh, funny. Talking about, you brought up the diabetes. I was going through looking for these samples, and I found the original diabetes. I don't know if you guys can see that. The Koval rye.
Oh, Lord. That was brutal.
Just straight sugar.
It was good, but it was, yeah.
So Pat may still be.
Your diabetes. Your diabetes.
Yeah, it led into that. That's how sweet that was. It was very accurate.
So, Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, let's hear you, baby.
As I drink from my in-laws Hershey's oversized, it's water, I swear. It's been a month or so since I've had any of this, and this was a fresh crack of this bottle, and
so it's the neck pour. So
it is, well, yeah, so it doesn't count. So I got to get back to me in a month. No, it's I was trying to remember my memory of it. My other bottle at home, because I started doing this thing where I was writing my notes on the bottle. So then I could, even though it had my notes I was writing down, I was trying to do that so it's easier to get back to it. But I do get like you're talking about the molasses cookie. I really do get that off of here. There's a sweetness to this wheat whiskey that is not, as we would say, the diabetes trigger. Mm-hmm. It's tamed down, it's mellow, and it's got a really, I mean, it's dangerously drinkable at 50%. Like it is, right. It is dangerously drinkable out there. It is to irritate people. It is smooth.
I'm on my third glass, so we have to do the other review in a little bit.
I'm gonna find out here in a day or two, because this bottle's coming with me to Minnesota, how it's going to hold up in a Manhattan.
Okay.
So I will report back.
Yeah.
I actually think that it could do pretty well in a Manhattan with its kind of a little bit earthier, richer undertone on the back half. I still think that might come through in the backbone of the drink. Oh, hold on a second here.
There is one more thing on the finish of it that is like it's not a frosting, but like if you've had a cookie that's got some sort of a sugar topping that's caramelized,
mm-hmm.
There's like a little bit of that extra sweetness that's just like a slightly sweet layer that then just dissipates out,
mm-hmm.
and then just
it's extremely well balanced.
Yes,
because you get some of that sweetness that we've been talking about, but it's not overly sweet. You get some of the oak, but it's not overly oaked. There's leather, there's vanilla, there's cherry, there's a lot going on in it. But it doesn't feel like it's just a mishmash of flavors. It's really well done.
Sorry about that.
Sounds like there's like a teletype machine in the background.
That I'm trying to avoid that, but I can't do anything about it.
He's got Morse code coming in.
You see me look around. I'm breaking that down and
from Ukraine right now.
They're winning.
Hey, if you go to that website, you can order this online and have it shipped to your home.
Exactly.
Which is fantastic.
Okay, and I want to know who they're using, because I've been to other distilleries in Missouri or Missouri, depending on how much education you had, and they said they could not ship from within Missouri. So yeah, he's got it. Oh, that's right. You're right. He's in Illinois. So all distribution must be all right. I'm slow.
Okay, before we switch off of this, I know Ben doesn't have Leper's fork. I want to know what your thought is on this compared to some of the standard wheat whiskey releases. My problem is I haven't had too many of them, like a Weller's, or a couple other ones. Where do you think it stands in the wheat whiskey world? Because I'm pretty impressed, especially for like a first year bottled and bond release. Fucking impressive for a 4-year-old.
Okay, well let's talk about the population of wheat whiskeys, because Weller is a wheated bourbon.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So of the big boys, you've got Bernheim. I know Dryfly does one.
Right.
Middle West does one. Is what else?
Lone Elm.
Okay.
I was going to say, for me,
Yep.
Lone Elm is probably has been at the peak or the top of the wheat whiskeys that I've had. Up until this one.
Yeah.
The thing for me that sets this one a little bit apart is I feel like the flavor profile strikes closer to a bourbon than what I expect from a wheat whiskey.
I could see that. It's different. I'm gonna have to get some more Lone Elm because that is an excellent question.
I mean, Lone Elm is like,
And it just became available in
cinnamon bomb.
Wisconsin. So
Yeah.
What if we do, and this is me kind of inviting myself on.
I like that.
Okay. What if we do a show where I present you guys a blind flight of wheat whiskeys, and you guys get to taste them and rank them blind? What if we do that sometime?
I can handle it. I'm not going to turn that down.
That'd be fun.
Look.
I think it's a good idea.
All right. Because I think it's an emerging segment, right?
Yes, this is where Rye was 3-4 years ago.
But it's not so big that you can't really encompass or gather in all the main players, and go from there. So I'll work on that.
I can see what Mitch is talking about.
And Lone Elm is, even flavor profile to me, Lone Elm is very different. It's like a big red gum, big huge cinnamon bomb with that Texas oaky funk going. This is just a whole different direction.
But I will say, as far as my wheat whiskey, Lone Elm punches in top 3, top 5 of wheat whiskeys for me. Like, you can throw that in a lot of blinds. Like you're talking about, Kevin, and that shit will surprise people.
Oh yeah,
it's always been pretty. I was happy with that before. It's neat to see someone doing stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm wondering, and we'll have to ask Adam if he's planning on ever running this through the new still.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
I'm sure he will.
After the success of this, I'm sure that he will.
All right, here. I like your idea, Kevin. That was something I was going to do. I was thinking of doing something like that as maybe if we get together as like a group tasting for people, or as like a chance in a chat if we sent out 4 or 5 samples to people, just to see where that would stand. Not even, I think maybe we start with us, and then maybe that challenge goes out to other people.
Sure.
Bigger name people, because it's
like the other whiskey den.
Oh, fuck off. Fucking God damn it.
See, just when it stops raining at Patrick's house, Mike has to rain on Patrick's parade.
That's right.
That's all right. That's what friends are for.
Yeah, that's right. Listen on his cornflakes.
It's Cheerios. I don't eat cornflakes. No, if it was Frosted Flakes, I am of the generation where sugar was introduced, so I will be taking my sugar cereal, as a Canadian would say.
I'll say this because it seems like we do that. We've done things that then end up getting done somewhere else, but I think pairing children's cereal with whiskey.
Okay. Chat, what do you think about this? What people in the chat at this moment, what cereals should we have to pair with? I think that's a fair question for the chat to to take a look at.
I think off the bat, I think this would work great with some honeycomb.
Yes.
Mm.
Malort with shredded wheat.
God, man.
Jim
should
says Cocoa Puffs. I'm writing that one down because that is definitely one.
With Crackling Oat Bran and get it over with.
Why don't you just throw some rice cakes in there with it?
I don't know, Wheaties.
Hold on here. Dude, I love the Cocoa Puffs.
I did do this is quite a while ago, and it was I don't know what struck me to do it, but they were both
Jacks with the rye
for some reason. Ardbeg 10 and the Aldi version of Fruity Pebbles. Or no, Aldi version of Fruit Loops. That's what it was.
Fruit Loops. Okay.
And I don't know what it was, but boy, did it work.
Aldi Loops. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what Shannon just said. No, I don't know what she just doesn't want us to apparently to do that. I don't know if that's from a person who professionally does it, and maybe she's tried this. But you obviously haven't watched our show.
What's that? Do they look? I don't even go down the cereal aisle. Really, I just don't eat cereal in a long time. But do they still do the Reese's, like the Reese's Cocoa Puffs?
Yes, they do.
We do.
Yeah.
That to me seems like that would be had that peanut butter and chocolate pairing with
that's on there
with some whiskey.
If you can find a whiskey that like wrecks the roof of your mouth, you could pair that with Captain Crunch.
Oh no, we are not doing Captain Crunch just for the explicit purpose of I don't want to eat fiberglass. It just shreds your mouth. That is fun. That is like the worst thing. And I'm sorry. It's like after you eat, you're like a great. It's like all of a sudden you eat something else or have something hot, and it's like, what's wrong with my mouth? It's just like razor blade cut marks. That's healthy too.
You just absolutely shredded the inside of your mouth, the roof of your mouth there.
Hold on here.
He likes his breakfast to hurt.
If it were, and Ben hasn't even sent me the sample, you son of a bitch, of the second 3 Chambers rye.
I'm trying, man.
I'm just giving you shit. But Todd was specifically talked to me. He's like, hey, you are gonna love the berry notes in this one more than the other one. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, man. I hope so. Because I love the first one, but more berry notes sounds awesome. And that sounds like it'll fit right in. But this fucking Captain Crunch, it's gonna shred me. That's good. If we do Captain Crunch, that's the last one we're doing. Because not doing that earlier. Peanut butter Cheerios. I could see honey nut. Peanut butter sits on the Reese's one with me. I think that falls into that branch.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Cheerios and Lee Sinclair.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. Honey nut.
Honey nut Cheerios probably work with a lot of whiskeys.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, that's the one I had on here. I'm like, I think that will fall in line.
I've done that before. Just honey nut Cheerios or
pour your whiskey.
You Betty Whited it?
I don't.
Betty Whited the breakfast.
I don't actually pour it over the cereal. But
it's just you and the grandson sitting there having some snacks.
Right.
Yep.
Everyone's enjoying the moment.
Yeah, you both have sippy cups.
Hand pops your Cheerios.
Don't be stingy, boy.
Where'd that sippy cup go?
Yeah. All right.
Apple Jacks would be another good one to.
I have that written down. Renita said that one. I put that one down because I think, like she said, there's a couple of them that could really lean into. That'll be interesting.
Could you put whiskey in Rice Krispie treats? Or would that? I'm just trying to figure that out. Maybe you can make some sort of like whiskey glaze and just kind of
you're saying I'm going just directly opposite spirit because Mike, you've had it and they'll be on the show in July. Natural spirits, maybe a salted caramel liqueur kind of baked in there. So I'm just saying there you took that in the right direction, Kevin, but I'm going for like losing a foot right away, just right in there.
Oh wow, very dangerous.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I was
Adina
gonna
likes
say
Adina likes it. She's with me.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. All right, now for a little second here, we got another whiskey we got to do.
Yes, we do.
Before we get too lost here, this one is from Leper's Fork, which is
It's actually Leiper's Fork.
Leiper's Fork,
Yes.
Williamson County.
Being from Tennessee, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
With assurance.
not Leper's Fork. Speaking of losing feet,
No, man. Come on, you guys spread the right
Jesus healed the leper and made some whiskey.
at the same place. I've heard more outlandish shit. I've had a bottle. I went back to an Instagram post where someone has contacted us about doing the review, and yeah, I've had Leper's whiskey before. It's bad. It's comes from some Boone's town, but ooh, yeah, I jumped into this one again. I had a little drink. I had a little drink early. It's hard not to. But this is a bottled and bond whiskey as well too. This one, Mike, you have this in front of you.
Yep.
70C 15R. 15
Okay, now you've got something different. You've got the bottled and bond whiskey.
I've got the Tennessee whiskey.
And I've got the bourbon.
Okay.
Okay. And the difference is one is the bourbon is wheated. Corn, what was it? 70% corn, 15% wheat, 15% malt, barley malt. And I think the whiskey,
it's rye. Rye is
the whiskey has rye instead of wheat, but they're calling it a Tennessee whiskey instead of a bourbon.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why they do that.
I don't know, but
do they take it through the Lincoln County process?
You'd almost have to.
I think you'd have to call it Tennessee whiskey.
They're calling it Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah,
and
that may be it. And with the rye,
bourbon is not.
Yeah, and I'm thankful for that.
I like them playing with it. You know what I mean? Like, but keeping the mash bill relatively the same as far as comparison. So, Mike, let's do ours. Let's do some nosing on ours, and we'll go off of what Kevin had. Ben, I want to see you get drunk because you need to.
Yeah, I'm out of that. So right now, I'm going to sip a little OCD in honor of our buddy Stuart down at Glens Creek, who has moved on. Congratulations! I don't know exactly what he got into, but he's moved to Florida.
Oh wow!
One of our favorite distillers, and for me, a beloved tour guide there at Glens Creek.
I'm so glad I got
to be the 7-foot NBA guy giving you your tour and tastings. Go there.
It's the tallest distiller in the world.
Yes.
And an absolute class act of a person.
Oh yeah,
yes,
yeah. Great
as far as meeting someone in person, it was a fantastic. And I was distracted the first part of that tour, and he only gave me a little bit of shit, which I had loved because it was accurate to do. And I was just like, I apologize.
Okay, but in NBA descriptors, him standing next to you was like Manute Bol standing next to Muggsy Bogues.
Oh, dude, that was the best part of the trip, Ben, and I think you can admit it was when we looked at a picture. It was the first time Kevin and Mike fucking looked small.
Right.
He's like, yeah. See now, how's it feel? Now everyone needs 2 milk crates to stand.
And not only Stuart being the one of the many distillers that they have there and a nice guy, but also a pretty good smartass and a good smartass in writing for his descriptors and label work that he did for Glens Creek. So yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean give up on Glens Creek. Because I did see them make some posts about it where some people were like oddly concerned that like they were going to close or something, and then
there's like 4 distillers.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of people doing stuff there. There's even the guy who taught him, so they're going to stay open. It's going to be a great place to go back to. What was that Cuervo one that he's like? Honestly, it sells itself. Yeah, that's the one that sells itself. He's like, that's nice when they have that, but yeah. the brains, especially for our channel, the way we appreciate like the Blom brothers and other people, where they're writing creative and interesting stuff on their labels, not just boring crap or taking massive shots at the industry while they do so. That's fantastic. Like that's fun. Like that's for me, garners a lot more respect.
Yeah. Well, like, you know, Blom Brothers does a really good job of it, but most of it is restricted to the labels, which is great because then it's sitting on the shelf next to something else it's making fun of. But Stuart wrote a whole story and a backstory, and then it continued on because you know, they had the Sweet vodka and then the Kentucky agave, and I think there was another one that was part of that story too.
Mm-hmm. Well, when someone meets what was it? Other rum. What was one of the Captain Morgan, or what did he meet Captain Jack Sparrow? I don't remember. Like the story's fantastic. Yeah, you need a bottle to be able to like keep up with it. That's how good it is. And I would buy it just to keep up with the fucking story.
And you know, and the Satit, it's pretty good vodka.
It is good vodka, as well as the agave spirit. The last time I was in there, they had literally just dumped some that they had been barrel aging for a short time. And still had the char floating around, and it got to taste that. It was freaking outstanding.
They've got some of the
anyway, so it's. But that was.
I saw they've got some of the aged agave now.
Do they?
Yeah, barrel aged in OCD and in something else. So anyway,
then there's a couple people down there, St. Augustine. People have liked. I haven't had anything from them. And otherwise, I reached out. We'll see. The Kasuba brothers are down there, and they had a tremendous rye from Poland, and it'll be interesting to see what I think they're on maybe year 2 or 3 here. They're getting towards the point where they're going to start stacking. You might see some differences or see what happens when they're here, and that's a neat thing just to see what does happen because I mean that was a powerful rye. From there, just to see how it translates or how everything works out, or getting maybe just even if it's the same type of rye, like a different varietal, you're in a completely different part of the world. Even if you are getting the same varietal, it's not like you're getting the same batch. You know, they've like as simply as when we were talking about High Wire and how they draped, or was whoever did the Sea Coastal rye? I lied. That was 6 and 20, where they drape stuff over the top of the field so that they don't get cross pollination. You know, like just, so just being in different countries, you're going to get a different flavor profile out of the same wheat or whiskey or grain. So I got all wound up there for a second.
A little jacked up.
I did, but hopefully he will help Florida's distilling community, and it's just. Wherever he goes, it'll be fun just to stop in and talk to him.
He can't hurt it.
No. And when he left, what a great kind of send off he said he almost complimented everyone there about how they impacted his life. So when we're talking about going places and community, that's a place where you're seeing it even on the inside. Kind of come out when someone leaves, when you see that much love and respect for each other. Yeah. I mean, it does. And
he only worked weekends, right?
Yeah. He only worked weekends, but it does come out in what you're producing, you know, it was fantastic. So we wish him well. Yes. So on this set, back to Tennessee,
back to the Lepers,
back to the Leapers.
I wish I could do Jim Carrey's Fire Marshal Bill face.
I can't do it.
And Shannon commented earlier, yes, for your biological fact, armadillos are carriers of leprosy. So if you see them in the wild, leave them alone.
Run them over.
Here we are. That.
Hey, prairie dogs carry the plague, man. So they do. There's like 10, 12 people every year in Colorado or in Montana that get the plague because of prairie dogs.
What are they doing with the prairie dog?
Well, they got to find the colony that has it, so they don't really do much. It's hard to do it. They're carriers.
I mean, no. How do you catch the plague from a prairie dog?
Oh, you sleep out.
Well, where
Yeah.
We need to change the
what are you-
Herbals?
what are you catching it? What transmits the plague, Mike? Let's break this down real quick. Where do people? I mean, where are you getting it from? Flea bites, right?
Usually, yes.
Okay,
No.
so if you go visit Colorado, you can go drive through a suburb and there's a house, and then you have an empty space, an empty lot, and another house. And that empty lot will be a whole colony of prairie dogs right there. I mean,
Yeah.
they're everywhere. Pests, absolute pests.
Yeah, people
Maybe,
drive with guys I work with would drive out to Colorado to pick them off. They get paid to pick them off.
Right.
Wow.
So they're not just don't think they're just not out there in the rolling prairie way out away from civilization. They're literally right there in the towns and communities and everything. So if they're right next to your house and you're out in the yard, you get bit by a flea or something like that. That's boom.
What kind of-
There you go.
It's not crazy. I'm just saying it happens.
What kind of third world country is Colorado?
I expected it out of the Montana, but not Colorado. Fuck.
The world has ridded itself of the plague for centuries, unless you're in Colorado. Okay. Thoughts and
Careful
prayers,
camping.
Colorado.
That's all I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
All right. So on this one, and Mike and I have the Bottled and Bond Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah.
From Leiper's Fork. Okay. Ooh.
So okay, I can tell you what I get. I get a little chocolate, but then there's a very distinct coffee smell.
Yeah.
You go into a diner and they've got those coffee pots that have been sitting there, and it's not that it's bad coffee, but that coffee's been sitting there, and it's just
It's like
like
over roasted.
it's just there's just been a lot of roasting on there, and it's just that distinct. It's like chocolate and that, and
That's
a little
very-
honey.
Right where Mike's mentioning that is like right where it gets to be a little bit too much is right when the chocolate kind of rolls over the top of it
Yeah.
and layers it down.
It- yeah, it's
it gets
not
right to
burnt.
the edge, but it doesn't get bad. But then that chocolate note rolls over the top.
Yeah, it's like a roasted toasted coffee. It's not burnt. It's not, not in danger of sneaking the place up. It's just right on that edge.
Once again, I'm getting a little. The coffee note's right. That's definitely for sure in this one. I'll be interested if Kevin gets that in his or not. But a little bit of
There's like a cherry cough drop too. Those Luden cough drop.
cherry cough drop, a little bit of light marshmallow. And mine. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Mm.
There's a mint, light on the edge of anise note, but not overpowering. But there's a mint in here that I was not expecting off the nose. In the drink, because I wasn't. I guess lightly you could mix that in on the back end of this, but I wasn't getting that.
So I get it. There's a caramel that carries through, but it's not caramel candy. It's like a caramel sauce.
I get you. It's not thick. It's not a Werther's, that's for sure.
No, and then
No.
then there's like a little not quite raspberry. I don't know what would be close to a raspberry. If you see me in person, you know I am a stranger to fruit. There's something similar.
Where's the produce section? I don't know. You're
Yeah,
asking the wrong guy.
it's next to the chocolate. Do you have fresh grown ho-hos?
Yes, we sprinkle those on all our desserts.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on here.
Mm. That's really good. I like this a lot.
This is the spices in it, more background, but as I open my mouth after drinking it, it picks up in a little bit of heat, a little bit of spice, a little bit of barrel note. Nothing's going over medium
No.
flavor wise. Little, I don't want to say drying on the palate because it's actually making me salivate compared to everything else right now. It's actually making me kind of come out rather than go for it. This is very interesting. I'm not sure where I'm at. Kevin, let's hear about yours before I make decisions on mine.
Yeah, and the distinction is the one I've got is the bourbon bottled in bond, and the one you guys have is labeled a Tennessee whiskey, although technically it's a bourbon by mash bill. This is 70 corn, 15 wheat, and 15 malted barley, and the one you guys have is just replacing the wheat with rye. This is dangerously good as well. There's some chocolate and cinnamon on the nose of it. Maybe a little bit of fruit. Again, I'm not a fruit expert, but there's some fruitiness in there. I know a little bit about fruit because I've drank wine before, and
because I like Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts.
This is
Savages.
Ben's just pissed over there. First thing he said in 15 minutes is like, fucking savages.
Have you ever had a berry lifesaver?
The chewy ones? Yes.
No. Yeah. I get almost like a plum flavor to it, and then
How would you know if you don't eat fruit?
I've had a fruit, okay. But on the palate, there's a moment when you drink it that I think, oh, this is this Lee Sinclair? Is this Lee Sinclair? Because there's a chocolate and a hazelnut note to it, and then some nutmeg kicks in, and it's really, really good. I'm very impressed with it, and I'll be anxious to try the Tennessee whiskey version of this as well. They also make a rye and a white whiskey.
Sugar-free gummy bears, Tim.
Oh, don't ever don't do that. Maybe if you're already diabetic. No, because I don't know. If I get to that point, I don't know if I'm going to want to eat things that don't taste right to me even afterwards. You know what I mean? It'll just sully the memory. Or it'll be one of those things where you feel like you're Mrs. Huxtable. Like Mrs. Huxtable's around you and you can't eat what you want. And
it's obvious to me you've never read the reviews of sugar-free gummy bears on Amazon before.
Are they? No, I have not.
As soon as we're done with the show, that's exactly what you need to do for a good 30 minutes.
I can handle that. But
after having a gummy bear, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy that said this,
a little more brown sugary, a little more sweet than what I was expecting, but more of a dessert whiskey for me in my mind, but very solid. Very, very solid off what I'm getting here. Yeah, I've been impressed by both of these. I'm really happy with the two we've had to drink.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I think the Old Monroe wheat, I think at that bottle in bond, I think I could drink all evening, where this is a little more 1 or 2 glasses for me. It's a little bit sweeter on the notes and on the finish, or at least at this point over the overlapping drinks. That's where it's at for me. What the hell?
Yeah, I could bury both of these. They're very good.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, Renita.
What was that? There's another one here. Yeah, I feel this. Yeah, that's true. It's like kissing your sister a little bit. It's just not right.
Well, whose sister are we talking about, Tim?
That's true. I guess that is true. We did. I don't know if you guys did, but I know I want to say we all had someone's friends who had a sister who was like, I kind of like your sister. Like maybe you didn't have that talk, but your friend knew. Or I know they're not watching. My friend's the Hermestus. My friend Jake, he got so much shit between his sisters and his mom. It was awful. I almost felt bad. Almost felt bad for him. Almost felt bad for him. But then I was the one like pushing it too. But I was friends with the whole family. So
Especially the mom.
No, she knew I was bad news. Where are you guys? Didn't matter which one. Where are you going? You're going with Pat? You better call.
Yeah. Pat, why are you going out with my mom and my sister again?
I want to be like, dude, your family was the corruptors. It wasn't me. It was reverse. You got this wrong.
The master distiller and owner at Leiper's Fort started out as a home distiller.
Really?
Isn't that illegal?
Technically.
Yeah. Well, we do know a few people that may have ruined some stoves.
Yeah.
And a ceiling.
and ceilings.
And a ceiling, yes.
Several times.
But I'd done some research on the company before, and I'm gonna try to get him on Bourbon Turntable. But I think he made his first still when he was 16 years old.
Well, he seemed to be one of the people like you said, Kevin, when I was looking into it, that was intentionally trying to hold true, not necessarily to all old techniques, but to like a thought process about it. Like holding those old things and cherishing that type of stuff at heart rather than kind of jumping more forward into just producing whiskey. Like let's make something good and build on the name and go from there rather than being like, hey, we have enough money to just produce stuff and go. So I don't know. I've liked both of them so far. And from what Kevin said, that should be a good taste off between these two. And good for them, because I think that's a good way to look at a tasting if you're ever at an event with them or go to the distillery, is to be able to taste the difference when they change a single grain. I mean, that doesn't happen very often, where some place will change out 15% for 15% and be like, what did you think?
Right.
You know, I mean, that's, I don't want to call it ballsy, but in my mind, I like it from an efficiency standpoint, because you can define what you need, you know, in a year's time frame for what you need to produce. Is like, we need this and this and this, and it doesn't change as much,
right?
You know, where you're leaning into. But I don't know.
Now, did you guys detect any of the Lincoln County process in what you were tasting?
Nope.
So I'm wondering if they're just calling it a Tennessee whiskey because they want to call it a Tennessee whiskey.
I don't know. I don't, but can you though?
That would be a Tennessee law.
I thought it was, I mean, I thought it was legally defined as to what could be called a Tennessee whiskey.
I thought so too. I thought you had to spin it through there to make that was like the deciding factor between that and bourbon, is what I thought it was. You know, like it went through charcoal.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Yeah, it says since 2013, state law defines Tennessee whiskey as a spirit that is distilled in Tennessee from at least 51% corn, is aged in new charred oak barrels, and has undergone the Lincoln County process.
Yeah, Bill 1084.
Now that you say that, and I get a little bit of that, maybe that's a titch of the toasted marshmallow, like a little bit of the charcoal layered in there, where I was getting that with the toasted note on it.
Yep.
But they're also.
I'm not going to say it was definitive at all.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but they are. I know that it's pot still, but it's also fairly low barrel entry proof at 110.
110, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. One thing, jumping back to this bourbon, there's a the nose on it is very reminiscent of something from Willet, the good Willet, not the Willet pot still, but the good Willet.
That's just what I was going to ask when you did that, because that's where I wanted to get at, was in my. Well, I wanted to have a tasting for people out there in the whiskey world, if we ever show up at a place as well too, like the wheat whiskey wars. But that was before there was actually the Ukraine-Russia thing where wheat became an issue and part of a war. So kind of sullied a little bit of the pitch on that. But
Call it a weed off.
a weed we already had the jack off. I don't know
Right.
if we can have the weed off. And Jack was not so thrilled
Might be time for
about
the
that.
Jack
Just-
Off 2.0.
It's
with all
coming
the
up.
new Jack Daniels releases. So
It's coming up because they were not the most thrilled the first time with that labeling.
Yeah, I heard a couple comments. People not thrilled about that.
Yeah, it was obviously over the line. So our
Eh,
our apologies.
don't
But-
apologize.
Well, I'll tell you
I'd still
this.
do it again. So.
To try to get things back to something else. If you can get the Stumpies, which you can go online and get that. Do if you can find the Leiper's Fork, which I think is primarily only available in Tennessee right now. Find a way to get it. I think I would highly recommend either of these.
Oh yeah, solid
much?
choices. I haven't blended. Ooh,
I've got a
Speaking
blend
of-
here, so
speaking,
I
of,
did.
better do
the
that.
Leaper's Fork. I know you can get it on Seal Box.
Yes,
Mm.
they have something there as well.
absolutely.
too. Ooh, hey Spence, what's going on? Good to see you sneaking in at the end here.
Yeah,
We're
I
just
already,
blending the final right now.
I've been jumping in on the blend here for a little bit.
Oh, cheater. So Ben, what are you mixing in here? I know you're off kilter. You just have that. You have
Right now-
both of the.
right now
You have
I'm
both
sitting-
of the Stumpies, right?
Yeah, I do.
What did you think of the other Stumpy?
I haven't. Well, the other Stumpy we did on a show here a while back. That was his straight bourbon
Oh,
Yeah.
at 123 proof. I think that we were very, very impressed with. I'm right now. I'm sipping on the 6 and 20 heirloom rye. So
yeah.
batch 2.
Hey, Adam.
Yeah, hey Adam, you're gonna have to spin back to more of the beginning of the show when we did your stuff. But I was gonna say, heck yeah, if you weren't there then, pretty impressed with the wheat whiskey.
Very
Just
much.
to understate it a bit with that
It's kind of
comment.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Molasses cookie with cream cheese and cherries, and
Yeah.
yeah. Now we're all fatter just for thinking about it, but
That's right.
seriously,
Everybody
no, that-
who's watching should go buy 2 bottles online.
Yes.
it's a fantastic iteration of something unique in the whiskey world.
It's one of, like I said, it's one of those things. In the Kevin was talking about a wheat whiskey tasting, and I'm excited about that. But it's one that I would have in there with Lone Elm and 2 or 3 other people against some of the big names. And I do not. I think I know how that's going to fall, and I'm excited about it.
I would.
You go ahead, Ben. You do
I
what
was
I'm
gonna say
saying.
my thing here is though what is so unique and interesting about Stumpy's Wheated is I would put this in blind flights against standard bourbons, not just in other wheat whiskey.
Mhm.
I think it would stand up in profile and flavor and compete against other bourbons, which I think for me is the tail of the tape on this one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It throws people off a little bit when you do
Sure.
it in a blind flight because they're not expecting a wheat whiskey.
Right.
And I think you're right. I think a lot of it profiles more like a bourbon, but it's enough different that I think people are a little confused at first about what it is that they're tasting.
Mhm.
But everybody that I've had try this has loved it, including when we did the Tale of Two Stills show, Todd Leopold and Alan Bishop both had nothing but wonderful things to say about it, which I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah. That was good, which I'll plug that too. If anyone has not watched that, go to the Bar Cart Co-op YouTube page and watch that.
Yeah.
Or the Facebook page. That was really good to see 3. It was really about 2 people and their unique stills, but to have 3 distillers like that who are, I'd say, fearless,
Yeah.
but also in what they're doing. you could tell they were all genuinely flattered to be complimented by who they were being complimented by, which is
Right.
kind of cool. You know how they respected each other.
And not just complimenting. There was legitimate intrigue. There were points where you could see every distiller, like when someone said something.
Yeah.
Todd, hold on.
Yeah, like
And
Adam
just
goes,
scribble
"Hold
a
on,
question down.
hold on."
Like, wait. Let's get back to this. You know,
Right.
like when you see people of that level getting that excited and kind of coming around like, okay, how did you get around this and this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
rewatched
exactly the conversations we want to pull you into. You know what I mean?
I rewatched some of that today, and there was a point where Todd's just sitting there and he goes, I have so many questions. And then he proceeded to ask them, and Adam answered them, and it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
Oof. Sorry, I need to have a little. That blend was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't expect anything less. Pretty good.
Yeah, it was interesting.
I'll say very good. Just at that point where everything's good, so I'm gonna put it on a very good pedestal.
Emily's on
especially
the spot.
for the blends that we've done, and in the more recent months, there's been 2 or 3 that have been really questionable. As far as the blends go, even if the parts were good, there's been a couple blends that were iffy. This one's really nice and solid, and thank you, Emily. Best wrench in the business on top of everything. Look at that. Whew. So
the blend is really good, but it kind of takes the exceptional things of both of them and neutralizes them a bit.
say it mutes them.
Yeah.
It'll mute them. This is almost. This is gonna sound terrible, and I hope no one takes offense. Like Canadian whiskey drinkable.
You son of a.
No, stop it.
No.
Stop it.
I'm sorry. I've been trying to figure this out with Wisconsin and the ability to just tilt back. When you combine these, it kind of, like you said, it muddles a little bit of the full expression on both of them. It makes you could tilt back with a combo of these. I don't know. I take it. You could tilt back pretty good. God damn
You just
it!
ruined everything, Patrick.
I know. It's time for me to go home.
Have you guys ever had really good Crown Royal?
No, it's not. I didn't
No,
mean it like that.
nobody.
But I mean, like, as far
Nobody.
as like an appreciation, there's a public, okay, and they love peach, Crown Peach, and Crown in general. I mean, it's a solid brand, and I do not agree with this.
You ran off Adam. Way to go, Pat.
I did not mean to run off any. Did I really?
Yeah. He said,
Yeah.
Oh, that's no. Well, whatever.
But Alan showed up, so
I did not. I did not mean well, whatever. I just meant like there is an easiness between the two of them that is really easy to drink.
it is. They're both very
It
dangerously drinkable.
Yeah.
for the average person who drinks whiskey, the combo of the two was
There's a reason that Mike
Easy.
and I are on our 3rd bottle of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I feel like shit.
Well, you should.
Well, it's
will.
okay, but you know.
No, I'll write
you
and
probably
apologize.
should. Yeah.
I will. But I just mean the drinkability of it was. I don't think anyone's going to have an issue, and that's kind of what Canadian whiskey is.
No.
And for the bulk of it is made to just go down. It's not. I don't know. But by themselves, they're both a little bit different.
Okay. For the record, I don't think that Stumpy's wheat whiskey or Leiper's Fort products are anything like Canadian whiskey.
Not the blend of said being as easy is all I was getting at.
Okay.
But that's fair.
That's right, Alan. Just go down.
Why does it say the Fox Broadcasting Company on here?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm looking
I
at.
think it's time for Patrick to go home.
No, I'm not. I'll take a screenshot of this. How the fuck do I do that?
Is it raining again at your house?
No,
Patrick?
it's not. But like, how do I do
You've
this?
been reading.
Control Control P, I think is what it is.
Where is Andy at?
Yeah. I am going to have to jump off. I have to help carry a refrigerator.
I bet you do.
That's not a euphemism, but it's also earning my keep at the in-laws.
I have to
All right.
carry a refrigerator.
All right, sir.
Well, I think it's about that time that we'll hop off for the show anyways. What the fuck? I'm not gonna. Anyone who's in the chat right now, you can read that. I've got myself a big enough hole. I am not going down that path, but I am intrigued. So next week, join us. Wait, who's not going to be here next week? Because Ben's not here next week.
Yeah,
fair enough. But join us next week. We'll be reviewing some more whiskeys then, and coming in July, you'll be seeing a few more shows popping up with some of the people we've been talking to. There's some talks with Cedar Ridge and Nate, and a few other people as well too. It's just slotting the summer now that people. No, it is. It's more difficult now because it's harder to find help for events and stuff, and people are back to doing things.
I'm laughing at Tim's comment.
Oh, I wasn't even there. I don't want to know what he said.
That should be our standard thing. We don't have the Nancy Fraley thing anymore, so we can do that.
That's to move a fridge.
Well, I do have to do it. You guys have I'm sure I'll talk to you at some point before that, but have a good Father's Day. And everyone else that's in there in the chat, have a good Father's Day if I don't talk to you.
All right. Love you, Mike.
All right.
Cheers, Mike. Have a good night.
Love you, bro.
And thanks to everyone in the chat for coming out and sticking with us. And I took a copy of this because for some reason, like above where I can make comments over here, in a square box, it says the Fox Broadcasting Company, like we're doing some type of real show for Fox. So I don't know how YouTube is spewing this out, but we'll see. And we expect some residuals, damn it.
Absolutely. Make some money on those Viagra commercials and everything else that they're showing.
If you start hearing some weird random commercials on the show, we'll
Geico commercials, Yep.
He'll be like one of my videos in high school where I started filling in stuff like that. We were supposed to make it was either a movie or a TV show, and I made a TV show, but we also edited in actual commercials that were on the edge of getting in trouble, kind of like our show here. And it went fantastic. I got A's. Green. Oh man, no, Tim, no. All right, folks. I think we're gonna get out of here. You have a good night. We will catch you all next week. Thanks for stopping in and chatting with us. It was good to see both of you two on the show. Everyone in the chat. Sorry, it's been a while. I think we all needed a little bit of a break though for a week, and we'll be happy to see you guys again next week. We're talking more whiskey.
All right.
Cheers.
Hopefully you'll have it burned up in the weather.
Cheers.
Yeah. Ben's got to hydrate from now until then.